I was almost abducted in Mexico last year. Me and my boyfriend were on a trip to Costa Maya. He got a promotion he's been working so hard for, and we had saved up enough to have a getaway and celebrate. Valentine's Day was coming up, so it also felt like it would be fun to spend it in another country, sipping on some margaritas, soaking up the sun. I know not a lot of people have the luxury of traveling, but trust me, we don't either. This would have been our second vacation in the last 5 years, and we were really looking forward to it. The plane touched down sometime after midnight. My husband and I were ready to get to the resort and get some sleep. The place was beautiful. After a good while of packing up and organizing outfits for each day for him and I, we finally got some sleep. The first day was pretty much shopping. We bought souvenirs and t-shirts from some of the local shops. Better just to get that all out of the way the first day. Later that night, we put on our nice outfits and headed to a bar. I wasn't the biggest fan of all the cigars and cigarette smoke, but the people we met there were super fun and welcoming. We met a guy named Miguel who bought us a few rounds of drinks on the house. My boyfriend really liked him, I could tell. I guess free drinks are his love language. They pretty much carried their own conversation. Guy talk, I suppose. I couldn't really relate to half the things they were talking about, so I was third-wheeling the conversation for sure. As they were talking, I noticed a guy staring at me from across the room. He quickly looked away. I'm pretty used to guys looking at me, so I didn't make a huge deal about it. But then I caught him staring again the second night. We'd come back to the bar to meet up with Miguel. This time my boyfriend convinced me to dance with him when they put Kung's Clap Your Hands on. As we were dancing, I saw the same guy staring at me from the night before. This time, I was creeped out. I told my boyfriend to go say something, but Miguel saw who I was talking about and quickly shut it down. Miguel told us that guy was no harm, just a lonely local that came here often. We took his advice. We were leaving the bar since it was closing down when Miguel started acting weird. Tried getting us to stay out longer, show us another bar that stayed open till 5 a.m. We said no, but he wouldn't take that for an answer. Started getting angry with us. It was only 2 hours till 5 anyways, so we went ahead and followed him. I don't know how long we walked, but it seemed like Miguel was taking us nowhere. We'd ask how far to go, and he'd always say just a little further. The area looked worse and worse the further we walked. The houses started looking unlivable. The people we were passing looked like drug dealers and homeless people. Worst thing was, we didn't have any idea where we were anymore. Then Miguel stopped. He told us to hold on a moment, pulled out his cell phone and made a phone call. Started speaking Spanish, which neither my boyfriend nor I could understand. A few moments passed when a black van pulled up. I thought I knew what was about to happen, but before we could run, several men hopped out of the vehicle with guns. Policia, policia! We had front row seats to a sting operation. Miguel, who we now know is Jose Martinez, was a human trafficker, and he and his accomplices were linked to over 50 missing persons, 6 of them rescued. Those 6 had all described the same person that went by the same name, Miguel, all taken into high crime areas with low police presence to be abducted and sent off across South America. The police had been keeping a close eye on these guys for a while, even negotiating a deal with one of them in exchange for capturing Jose. After what happened here, I don't think we'll be visiting Costa Maya again. My boyfriend and I had been growing distant the last few months, which I thought was normal since there had been a few big life changes, along with the passing of his mother last fall. He stopped coming around as often, consistently missed my calls, and even forgot my birthday. I was so naive for so long. When you love someone, sometimes you just blindly think things will sort themselves out. But then I caught him. It was Valentine's Day when I found out. The morning of, I tried calling him. I thought he just forgot what day it was. I was annoyed. I checked his location on my phone and saw he was at a coffee shop. I called my best friend and started venting. As I was telling her how frustrated I was, I overheard chatter in the background. I felt my rant was done anyways, and I should just let her go since she was already busy. After I got off the phone, I started deep breathing. He'll get back to me. It's not like we haven't been together for almost 4 years. I couldn't fight the urge, though, to figure out what he was doing. I guess that's just human nature. The urge to know trumped over everything else, so I started heading to the coffee shop. I must have been speeding because what my phone told me was a 15-minute drive turned out to be less than 10. When I parked in the parking lot, I gave myself a moment to reconsider what I was going to do. Am I crazy for watching his location and showing up unannounced? What if he's just getting coffee and thinks I'm crazy and decides to break up with me? I felt so stupid and desperate. But was I in the wrong? No, I wasn't. I started telling myself all the reasons why I should go in and see what he's up to. I'm worried about him. We've been growing distant. What if he's with another girl? I'd made my decision, then and there. I was going in. Pushing through the entrance of the coffee shop, I glanced around the room looking for him. He was sitting at a table alone, simply sipping on his coffee. Did he notice me? Surely not yet. Here was my chance to turn around and walk back out the door. He would never know I was here. Save the psycho girlfriend look I surely was portraying. But then, I saw my best friend come to the table from the bathroom. As she sat down at the table, she gave him a kiss. My heart sank. That's what I heard on the other end of the phone. She's been with him the entire time. I was venting to her. We'd been friends for years. How long have they been seeing each other behind my back? I rushed over to the table and grabbed her by her ponytail and took her to the floor. My now ex shot up as I was clawing at my now ex-best friend's face, pulling me off. "She's pregnant," he shouted. "What is wrong with you? I wanted to tell you a long time ago, I just didn't know how." My mouth dropped like an anvil. So many emotions ran through me at once. Hatred, embarrassment, depression, and anxiety. I couldn't take it. I ran out of the building and never talked to him again. He doesn't know he still shares his location with me. I look at it from time to time. There's this saying, you don't really know a person, no matter how much you think you do. I'd like to add to that, especially if you haven't done a background check first. I was seeing a guy named Mark who shared a few classes with me at the college I was attending. Seeing might not be the correct word since we weren't dating, but I did like to be around him. I just hadn't grown to like him any more than friends just yet. I was in my single phase, just experimenting while I still had my whole life ahead of me. Normal young adult things. I'd first noticed we kept ending up in the same classes every semester. I later found out we had the same major, political science. He also tended to sit close to me, or in the general area of me every class. I thought it was super weird, but then I met him. We bumped into each other at the student union. I was grabbing some Chick-fil-A. He was heading back to the library to study. He invited me to come study for an upcoming exam in one of our classes. I said yes. It turned into a consistent thing. Things started getting weird once I officially turned him down. He asked me to be his girlfriend. I didn't have the heart to just give him a no. I told him now wasn't the best time. It was a lot more long-winded than that, but you get where I was going with it. I didn't even know him much. We still studied on the same schedule like before. I would sometimes catch him staring at me with a blank face. As soon as I'd lift my head up, his eyes would glance away as if I didn't see him obviously staring at me. I could sense there was something going on. I just wish I didn't find out the way I did. I realized I didn't really know anything about Mark. Everything was about me. If I ever asked him questions about himself, he always found a way to bring it back to me. I also didn't have him added on Facebook or Instagram, not on Snapchat either. I truly didn't know who he was. Valentine's Day came around. I was binge watching one of my favorite TV shows when I heard a knock at the front door. I knew who it was. It was Mark. When I opened the door, he was standing there with a bottle of wine. He apologized for being weird the last few weeks and wanted to make it up to me. We sat down in my tiny little apartment kitchen, and Mark started pouring our drinks. I didn't hear a pop from the cork, nor did I even remember if it had a cork at all. Does all wine have corks? Was it a screw top? I didn't see a cork lying anywhere, but neither did I see the top either. He handed me my glass and just looked at me. I didn't want to drink it. I really didn't. I had my hand in my pocket with my phone. I long pressed the side button to alert an SOS to the authorities. Then I took a drink. After I took a drink, I pretended to walk over to the living room couch. But as soon as I got past him, I beelined to my room, slammed the door, and locked it. Before I knew it, I started feeling weird and woke up to the police beating on my door. asking me if anyone was in there and if everything was okay. Mark wasn't there when they showed up. I made a police report.